Have you ever heard the story of a king who had high courage and partiality towards his people? Yes, this is the story of Leonidas, the king of Sparta who was famous for his heroism at the Battle of Thermopylae. From his early life, who was strictly educated as a prince of Sparta to become a formidable and respected leader, let's explore more about this figure who is considered a legend in world history. Leonidas was born around 540 BC in the city of Sparta, Greece. He was the second son of King ANAXANDRIDAS and his first wife. At that time, the Agade dynasty had a rule that all firstborn sons of Spartan kings would be prioritized and excluded from the agoge. The agoge was a system of physical and mental training implemented in Sparta in ancient times to train young men to become tough and disciplined warriors. However, the first sons of the Spartan kings were excluded from the agoge, as they were deemed too important and valuable for the country. They are expected to become the successor to the throne and rule the country in the future, therefore they must be protected and prepared for governmental tasks. In addition, the king's first sons were expected to set a good example for the nation, therefore they had to receive a broader education that focused on non-military aspects such as politics, diplomacy, and strategy. However, the king's sons also had to be trained in military skills, but by more subtle and less violent methods as practiced in the agoge. Due to his position as the second child, of course Leonidas did not get an exception like his older brother. Leonidas followed agoge from age 7 to age 20. During his childhood, Leonidas was physically and mentally tempered to become a tough and disciplined warrior. During the first year of training, Leonidas and the other students learned discipline, strength, and physical endurance. They were given minimal food and often had to steal their own food to survive. They also had to learn how to survive extreme weather and sleep on hard ground. At the age of 12, Leonidas began to study weapons and military strategy. He learned to use spears, swords, bows, and shields, as well as melee and ranged combat techniques. He also learns about the military maneuvers and strategies needed to survive and win the battle. In addition to physical and military training, Leonidas also received moral and intellectual training, such as education in such subjects as ethics, morals, music and literature. After completing his training in the agoge, Leonidas became a member of the elite Sparta army, known as the Homoi. He was also given the honor of being a citizen of Sparta and had full political rights. After a few years after his father, ANAXANDRIDAS, died, Leonidas ascended the throne to become king of Sparta in 489 BC. Wait, didn't you say that Leonidas is not prioritized to be heir to the throne? So, even though Leonidas was not the eldest son of King ANAXANDRIDAS, he could still be the heir to the Spartan throne because the system of succession in Sparta at that time was based on the successive lineage of previous kings. In this case, the direct descendants of King ANAXANDRIDAS II were considered as heirs to the Spartan throne, including Leonidas as his second son. However, if a king's eldest son was deemed unfit or unable to qualify as ruler, his second son or subsequent sons could be selected as the next king. History records that Cleomenes, Leonidas' older brother, had mental problems and was removed from the throne, so Leonidas became king of Sparta after Cleomenes' death. Actually, there are many versions of the story about how Leonidas came to the throne. However, regardless of how true the story about Leonidas getting to the throne is, we will focus on the fact that he did become the king of Sparta. Leonidas led Sparta during its heyday, during which it became the largest military force in Greece. Under his leadership, Leonidas strengthened military training and perfected the Spartan war tactics. Leonidas was also known as a development entrepreneur. He improved infrastructure and expanded Sparta's trade network. What is most famous about Leonidas, however, is his role in the Battle of Thermopylae in 480 BC. So what is the Battle of Thermopylae? The Battle of Thermopylae was a battle between Greek troops, mainly from the city-state of Sparta, against troops of the Persian Empire in 480 BC. How does the Battle of Thermopylae happen? To answer this question, we will return to a few years earlier. To be precise, in 490 BC, the Persian troops led by King Darius I attacked the city of Athens, which is the largest city in Greece. Athens turned to Sparta and other city-states for help, and they banded together to form an alliance known as the Hellenic League. The Greek troops numbered around 11,000 men, while the Persian troops numbered between 25,000 and 30,000 men. The battle took place on the plains of Marathon, about 42 kilometers from Athens. Despite being outnumbered, the Greeks managed to defeat the Persians in a battle that lasted 2 days. About 6,400 Persian soldiers died, while only 192 Greek soldiers died. The Greek victory at Marathon was significant, as it was the first time in Greek history that a coalition of city-states had managed to defeat a Persian army. This victory also gave confidence to the Greek nation and inspired the spirit of resistance against future Persian rule. One of the interesting facts about the Marathon War that you need to know is, after the Greek victory in this battle, a warrior named Phytopides was sent from Marathon to Athens to tell the Greeks about the victory. Phytopides is known for running the 42 kilometers from Marathon to Athens to break the news, and then dying after delivering his message. This became the origin of the marathon as a popular long-distance running sport today. Back to the discussion. Unfortunately, the Greek victory at Marathon could not end the conflict between the Persians and the Greeks. 4 years later, in 486 BC, Darius I died and was succeeded by his son, Xerxes I. Xerxes decided to continue his father's campaigns to conquer Greece. Finally, in 480 BC, King Xerxes I led his army to conquer Greece. Leonidas, who had been king of Sparta for about 10 years, heard about the invasion plans and realized he had to act quickly. As king of Sparta, Leonidas was responsible for leading the Spartan army in the defense against the Persian invasion. Leonidas commanded an army of around 7,000 Greek troops, including 300 elite Spartan troops known as the 300. They headed for the Thermopylae region, a narrow valley that separated the mountains from the sea. Leonidas chose this place as a defensive base because it could only be accessed by a narrow road, thereby reducing the Persian superiority in numbers. The Persian army, numbering 100,000 soldiers, led by King Xerxes I, attacked the Greek troops at Thermopylae. Despite being outnumbered by soldiers, Leonidas and his warriors put up a very fierce resistance. The Battle of Thermopylae on the third day began with a massive Persian attack, which it was hoped would break the Greek defenses. This time the Persians were able to overcome the shield wall and captured the Greek position. The Greeks were forced to retreat down the hillside and cover their last position, the narrow road that led to the village behind them. At that time, a traitor, named Ephialtes, revealed to Xerxes the secret of an alternative route by which the Persians could attack the Greeks from the rear. This path lies on the west side of the hill, where there is a footpath that can be used to cut off the Greek troops' path to the village. Once the Persians discovered an alternative route for the traitor Ephialtes, they sent the elite immortals to attack from behind the Greeks who were defending the pass. When Leonidas realized that his position was being squeezed, he sent the Spias and Theban troops to flee to the village and continue the struggle from there. Leonidas, along with his 300 men and a few other Peloponnesian troops, decided to stay on the defensive and face the advancing Persian troops from the front and rear. The battle continued with attacks from both directions. Leonidas and the Greek troops survive and manage to kill many Persian soldiers. However, when Xerxes managed to break through the defenses behind the Greeks, they ended up being surrounded and trapped in the middle of the battlefield. Although he succeeded in killing many Persian soldiers, in the end Leonidas and his troops died in the battle. They fought to the death, giving the rest of the Greek army the chance to escape and continue fighting against the Persians. After the death of Leonidas and his army, the Persian forces managed to take the pass and continued their attack on Greek territory. However, the great sacrifice made by Leonidas and his troops at Thermopylae inspired the Greek people to fight even harder in the war against the Persians. The Persian victory did not last long, as the Greek troops managed to gather strength and began a powerful counterattack. At the Battle of Plataea in 479 BC, the Persian army suffered a heavy defeat and was forced to withdraw from Greek territory. This victory is considered the culmination of Greek resistance to the Persian invasion and marked the end of the Greco-Persian Wars. The moral influence of the Greek warriors' struggle at Thermopylae continued to inspire and fight for centuries after that event. The heroic story of Leonidas and his army is immortalized in numerous works of Greek literature and art, and has served as an inspiration for popular culture and modern history. In modern history, the courage and sacrifice of Leonidas and his army is seen as a symbol of the struggle against tyranny and unjust rule. As a result, their story is often used as an example in literature and the media, and is known throughout the world as a symbol of courage and sacrifice in the struggle against all forms of oppression and injustice. The story of Leonidas is one of the most iconic events in ancient Greek history. An indomitable and courageous Spartan king, he led his army in the Battle of Thermopylae and made great sacrifices for Greek independence. Although his army ultimately died in the battle, the morale and fighting spirit he instilled in his troops motivated the Greek people to continue to resist the Persian invasion. The story of the courage and sacrifice of Leonidas and his troops still inspires people today, and is a symbol of honor and dignity in popular culture and history. So guys, here are some facts about King Leonidas and the Spartan kingdom. Hopefully this video can add to your knowledge about Leonidas and Sparta. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.